On August 31st, 1967, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. delivered the Three Evils of Society speech at the National Conference on New Politics. The speech framed the problem that has been lurking within our body politic from its very beginning as the sickness of racism, excessive materialism, and militarism, and considered the three problems as the plague of Western civilization. Revisiting the speech is instructive for anyone who is troubled by current conditions, with the visible ravages of racism, poverty's inexorable march, and the ever-expanding military-industrial complex dividing the human family. The three evils that MLK spoke about in 1967 are the same ones at work today, fueling pervasive Islamophobia. MLK spoke of the United States' schizophrenic personality on the question of race. He described the two conflicting personalities as one that professes the great principles of democracy and the other that practices the antithesis of democracy. Every step forward has an equal step backward, which MLK identified as old prejudices, hostilities, and ambivalences that have always been there. White backlash was nothing more than good old white supremacy, never content with equality. Today, the Muslim question in the US is a manifestation of these crises. Elites use Islam as a counterpoint for their vision of what America ought to be. Today, any step forward is met with the same backlash that MLK so perceptively called out. In confronting materialism, MLK forthrightly described the internal conditions of the ghetto, where African Americans are locked up in perpetual misery. MLK spoke of the readiness of Congress to grant subsidies to the oil and cotton industries, but none to tenants and farmers. What they truly advocate is socialism for the rich and capitalism for the poor. The problem that MLK diagnosed has become even more acute. An Oxfam report shows that 62 individuals have more wealth than 3.5 billion people around the globe. The haves, heavily concentrated in the global north, are seeking to have more, and the have-nots, heavily concentrated in the global south, have nothing except their commodified selves marketed as mere things to the highest bidder. MLK's words on militarism and war are haunting, blunt, and exact. This war has played havoc with the destiny of the entire world. It has torn up the Geneva Agreement, it has seriously impaired the United Nations, it has exacerbated the hatred between continents, and worse still, between races. It has frustrated our development at home, telling our own underprivileged citizens that we place insatiable military demands above their critical needs, and strengthen the military-industrial complex. This business of burning human beings with napalm, or filling our nation's homes with orphans and widows, of injecting poisonous drugs of hate into the veins of peoples normally humane, cannot be reconciled with wisdom, justice, and love. Today, war is business, for it directs billions of dollars of profits into the hands of the few by creating and supporting a death economy. Growth is fictitiously manufactured and connected to an ever-expanding death machine, while the powerless become the victims. The world today spends $1.4 trillion annually on military expenditures, while it takes somewhere between $22 billion to solve poverty. Racism makes it possible to overlook these short-sighted priorities. MLK concluded the speech by stating that the question we ought to ask ourselves is,
cowardice asks the question, is it safe? Expediency asks the question, is it politic? Vanity asks the question, is it popular? But conscience asks the question, is it right? And on some positions, it is necessary for the moral individual to take a stand that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must do it because it is right.
The time is right to ask, are the current wars ravaging the world, the obscene open-ended militarism, racism, and Islamophobia reflective of the highest human values? If the answer is no, then why are we silent?